Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Father, we come to you now. Lord, we thank you for this time, this opportunity to give us once again to come to your house and worship you, Father. Lord, I ask that you would just touch and work in a mighty way. Lord, help us this morning. We need you, Father. Lord, say the one that's nearest tell and reclaim the backslide. And I'll say, ask in Jesus' name I pray. Amen and amen.
Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made me a song adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, oh so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for love's sake became whole. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. And I'll never know how much it costs to see my sins upon the cross. I'll never know how much it costs to see my sins upon the cross. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
Amen.
all I do, that I honor you. In all I do, that I honor you.
If you would, go ahead and turn to Habakkuk chapter number 1. Habakkuk chapter number 1. And church, I believe in my years of preaching, I'm almost positive this is the first time that I've ever preached from Habakkuk. I don't believe I've ever preached from it. And I was sitting at the house last night, and I was sitting there and I said, Lord, I said, it's Saturday night. I said, where would you have me to go? Because I try to get somewhere to go before I just turn and go. I try to pray and seek the face of the Lord and all that. And I just look at different things to try to get my messages and which direction the Lord would have me to go. Well, last night I opened the Bible. I said, Lord, I said, you've got to give me something. I said, you've got to give me some type of direction. I said, we've got to go somewhere. And so I just started opening up the Bible, and I started in the Old Testament, and matter of fact, I opened Micah. And I flipped through Micah, and I kind of looked, and I said, no. I said, I just don't feel nothing in Nahum. And I looked at that, and I said, no. Well, I turned to Habakkuk. And just the theme of the chapter caught my attention. The Lord said, that's it. I'll redecorate the moon. I'll knock that off before I get done. Because I will step back into it. The theme is from doubt to faith. And you know, we've got a lot of doubting people today in America. We've got a lot of doubting people inside of our churches today. You say, preacher, what do you mean? We're always wondering what's going to happen to the world, where's the world going, what's going to be the outcome, and we're always trying to figure out how we're going to get through. What are we going to do? We have a lot of doubt. And what we have here in Habakkuk, chapter number 1, is the burden that Habakkuk had. And we have his vision that he had and the answers from the Lord and all that. And we have the burden. And with Lord being my helper this morning, I just want to stand for reading the verse number 1 for the sake of time. That's all we'll read this morning. So if you have your places, Habakkuk chapter number 1, verse number 1 is what we're going to read for our text this morning. Then we'll preach on through. But it says, the burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. That's it. I ask you, if I had to put a title on this message this morning, what or where is your burden? What is your burden this morning for America? Lord, we come to you once again. Lord, we thank you for this time and this opportunity that you've given us to come to your house and worship you, Father. Lord, I ask that you'll just come down and you'll help us. Lord, we need you this morning. I need you, Father. Anoint me, hide me behind thy cross. Fill my tongue with the words that you would have, my heart with the words that you would have me to give the people this morning, Lord. I cannot do it without you. Father, and I pray, Lord, if they don't have a burden this morning, they'll get a burden, Father. Lord, as we look through the vision and the burden that Habakkuk had, Father, I would pray, Lord, that we would have it. That we would grab it and we'd grasp it and take it out of these walls, Father. Lord, I don't want to be as a sounding brass or twinkle to anyone's ears this morning, Father. Lord, I pray that your words will strike the heart. Lord, we need you. All this I ask in Jesus' name I pray. Amen and amen. Sit down. You can maybe be seated. Habakkuk chapter number 1, I'm going to preach through the burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. You know, we wonder sometimes of why things happen, and we look around and we see this and we see that, and we say, what in the world, Lord, how's that happening? What's going on? Well, Habakkuk here, he had a vision, and he had you might as well say a dream, a vision, dream, same thing. But he was kind of perplexed. He had some perplexity about it to understand what was going on. He couldn't quite grasp it of why he was having it or why it was happening. Church, do you know we do not always understand why the things around us are going on and why things happen the way they happen? It's hard to understand. It's hard to comprehend sometimes. But listen to what the problem was of what Habakkuk saw, or what the problem was, and then we'll get to what the Lord said, and then we'll get to Habakkuk's vision here in a minute. But it said, O Lord, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. You know, we can look around and you can say, preacher, I've been crying, I've been praying for this one or for that one for so long. How much longer must I pray? How much longer must I have the faith to go on? I'm starting to doubt. We all live in that time. We all have those moments that we go through that we doubt. Habakkuk said, oh Lord, how long shall I cry? How long have you been crying this morning for something? Let me give you an answer here in a few minutes. And I'll show you how much longer to cry for. Why doest thou show me iniquity, and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. We look all around us and we can see all these things. We have strife, we have contention, we see the violence, we see all the grievance, the loss of loved ones all around us. And we have all these problems. What I see with Habakkuk, and even though Habakkuk was written in the 7th century, we see today that it's still the same then as it is now. You say, preacher, what do you mean? We all go through that. We all ask the Lord, Lord, how long am I going to cry? Lord, how long must I cry? Lord, why is all this going around? Lord, why is there so much violence? Why do I have to go through death? Why do I have to grieve over this or over that? Why is all this strife going on around us and all of this contention going on around us? We asked ourselves all that. Verse 4 says, therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doeth never go forth, for the wicked doeth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. What does that sound like? What does verse number 4 sound like? I could camp and I could preach on that verse number 4, but I'm not. Because this message is not for the unrighteous. This message is for the righteous. This is for the church. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doeth never go forth. What does that mean? I'll break it down into my little mind where I can understand it, what the Lord showed me that means. That simply means that there are bad people that do bad things on a daily basis that are still well and alive and healthy. That's what that tells me. You say, well, preacher, here I am, a child of God, and if I go and do something, then I catch the devil for it. You know, I'm tempted and I'm put down, or I have to lose this or lose that in order, or because I did something. But yet someone that stays drunk 7 days a week, that don't never go to church, that don't never do anything for the Lord, he's out here during the day and he's got everything that he wants and he's just as happy as he can be. You say, preacher, why is that? I'll show you in a minute why. But don't verse number 4 sound like us today? Sound like America? The church? You know, I know I'm there. I think that like that. Just like the song, Farther Along. That second verse says, are people among us that are not living right, but still year after year they're blessed. Or still year after year they prosper. we ask ourselves, Lord, I'm living for you. Lord, I do this in the church. Lord, I do that in the church. Why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? When I look at the one outside that don't never darken the doors of the church, ain't never done nothing for you, but yet they're blessed. Can I tell you one thing? Honey, that's material things. Don't get me wrong, I'm human. I love material things. And if you was honest with yourself, you'd love material things. I mean, we all like to have nice cars. We all like to have nice houses. We all like to have enough bank to be able to bank on if something happens. We all like to eat the nicest food we can. We all like to go shop when we can. All that's material things. And we look and we wonder, Lord, I'm doing all this for you. Lord, why don't I have all these material things? Can I tell you? Our material things are not down. All of our riches are in here. Amen. But don't verse number 4 sound like today? I mean, this book that was written so long ago, the Old Testament, from one of the minor prophets, is so real today. Verse number 4. I mean, judgment doeth never go forth. For the wicked doeth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Listen what the Lord had to tell them. Behold, ye among the heathen. Notice what that said. What did that say? Behold, ye what? Among the heathen. It didn't say, behold, ye the heathen. It didn't say, behold, ye in the heathen. It said, among the heathen. When you're amongst something, what does that mean? You are around it. What else does that mean? In my little mind, that tells me I might be around it and I might be amongst it. But I do not have to be of it. I do not have to partake in it. And even though it's all around me, I may be among it. But honey, I'm here to tell you right now, the Lord said, behold, ye among the heathen. When God tells me that, when I see God say that, that's telling me there's going to be wrong all around me. There's going to be violence all around me. I'm going to be right in the middle of it. I'm going to be among the crowd. But let's go on to see what else it says. He says, and regard and wonder marvelously. When we're around that, we wonder what's going on. Why am I around this? Why is this going on? But right before that it says, behold ye among the heathen, and regard the wonder marvelously. For I like this part right here. What does verse 5 say? The last part. Read it with me. I will what? I will work a work in your days. Church, I'm here to tell you right now, today may not be today that the Lord's going to work a work in our day, but honey, it is a coming. All we have to do is be faithful. Yes, we may be among the heathen, we may be among all the sin, but God told me right, Chandler, He said, I'm about to work a work in your day. Honey, whether it's going to be on this earth or whether our days when we step on the streets of gold, God's going to work a work in our days. All we've got to do is be faithful and He will come through. He done told Habakkuk, he said, look here, you're among them, you're going to be around them, you're wondering why they're getting blessed, and here you are pouring your heart out, doing this and doing that, giving to this, giving to that, and you don't have nothing that they have, and yet they live so wickedly from year to year, and they still are prosperous, and they still do this. Jesus said, the Lord said, you may be among them, you may have to look at them, you may have to ride by their houses, you may even have to sit by them inside of church, but He said, listen, I'm about to work a work in your day, church. I'm telling you right now, it's a coming. Don't lose faith, don't lose hope, keep the faith, keep the hope, because the day is a coming when God's going to work a work in your life. You're going to have a breakthrough of some sort, whether it's on this earth or whether it's when you get into heaven. And when you get to heaven, church, you're going to have the biggest breakthrough that you've ever had, because we've never seen nothing like it. When we get to heaven. We've got something coming for us. We've got a day that's a-coming that we've never seen. It said, which ye will not believe, though it be told to you. That right there only tells me, it says, I'm about to work a work in your day. What did he go on to say? Human. He's human. God knew that we was human. He said what? Even though you're not going to believe it. Even though which ye will not believe, though it be told. How many doubting Christians do we have? How many doubting Christians do we have? The Lord told Habakkuk, I'm going to work a day. I'm going to work a work in your day. Right behind it. What did he tell me? He said, you might not believe it because it's been told. What does that tell me? A lot of doubting people. Somebody's going to doubt. I said, preacher, I've been hearing that for all these years, and it still hasn't happened. The Lord told him. He said, which ye will not believe, though it be told you. Verse 6, for lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation which shall march through the rear of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves. And their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. For they shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. They shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand. And they shall scoff at the kings, that means mock, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them. They shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. Verses 6 through 10 is laying a picture out, I believe, if we take it to today's time and to 2016, I believe that it's laying a picture out of the days that we're living in right now. I believe that starting in verse 6, the Lord told him, said, for lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation. You say, why would the Lord do something like that? Honey, it's for us to grow stronger and for us to lean upon Him more. We're going to face times, we're going to face heartaches. I know and I believe without a doubt that the Lord allows these things to happen to our lives just to test us, just to see where we're at in our walk with Him. I believe verse number 6 through verse number 10 is the day that we're living in now. What does it say? It said they're going to come in, march through our land and try to take this and try to take that. And they're going to start mocking our rulers, start mocking our leaders. Honey, does it sound like America at all? I mean, what is happening every other week in some city? Protesting. No, it ain't no protesting no more. It's just straight out rioting. Protest is out there with your sign and you just march back and forth. It ain't burning cars or stopping traffic or busting windows out or burning buildings down. That's just straight up rioting. I don't care who you are. And we're the hate ones. That's some hate, ain't it? When we're just being calm and going on about our daily lives. Yeah, we hate everyone. We're doing the normal American thing, going to work and coming home. But yet we hate you. We're out there busting your windows in your cars. You love me because you're going to come out and bust my car. I'll show you love. It starts with the 9. That's what kind of love I got for you. I worked hard for what I got. I love what I got. I love my family. Mike ain't here to cut it out this week. Mike saved me the other week. I went and listened to make sure he did. He did a wonderful job. But does that sound like America? Does the Chaldeans sound like 2016, today's America? It's going to march through, going to mock the kings, going to try to take what they take what's not theirs. They do this. And let me tell you how sorry people are. Wednesday night, Lord bless the young man's family, and you seen that? I thought it was a bug that moved when I touched it. But Wednesday night, Lord bless his family, there was a young gentleman, y'all probably seen it in the paper, age 22. He got hit by a car about a half a mile from his house Wednesday night. And anyway, while we was there, it went out probably 6 o'clock. We probably didn't get done until 10 or 10:30. Maybe a little bit later than that, after all the investigation and everything was done. Well, when my fire assistant chief got back to the fire station, they went to go get in his truck, or went to go get in his girlfriend's truck, and some sorry rascal come by, broke his window, stole his chainsaw and something else out of his truck. I mean, that's what we're living in, church. People taking what ain't theirs. I mean, he's out there doing good, helping the community. And look what happened. What was it, last year before that, when Ross and Mike and who other car, on Wednesday night when they got broke to here in the church parking lot. It don't matter. Does that sound like America? Does verse 6 through 10 sound like America? I mean, they're coming out of everywhere. You look around and you see more and more standing up and saying this or saying that. It says they're going to come afar and they're going to try to take captive. They're going to try to do this and do that. I've never read Habakkuk or studied it. I mean, I've glanced through it until the Lord showed me this last night. Church, this is America. Even though it was wrote in the 7th century BC, Habakkuk chapter number 1 is 2016 America. We're living in a time where right is wrong and wrong is right. And then we see verses 12 through chapter number 2 right there. Habakkuk's doubt, his perplexity. He's wondering, saying, Lord, what's going to happen? I mean, here we are. I mean, just to hit some key points there. It says, O Lord, my God, my Holy One, we shall not die. O Lord, thou hast ordained them for judgment. You know what that means? The wicked will have their day. They are preordained for judgment. Their day is a-coming when they will be shut down and cast into a lake of everlasting fire and a place called hell. Their day is coming. But right now, we've got to keep the faith. We've got to be like Habakkuk, and we've got to keep the faith, and we've got to stay strong in the Lord and just let it happen. And we got to remember what the Lord told him, said, which ye, or I will work a work in your days. We've got to remember that. And what's going on here in verses 12 through chapter number 2, it says, shall there... Verse 15, they take up all of them which the angle, they catch them in their net and gather them in their drag. Therefore they rejoice and are glad. And these people think that it's a joy, and they get a fulfillment out of doing all these bad things. They think they are something when it happens. It says, therefore they sacrifice unto the net and burn incense unto their drag, because by them their portion is fat and their meat plenteous. Shall they therefore empty their net and not spare continually to slay the nations? Verse chapter 2 says, I will stand up on my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And verse number 2, the last 3 verses, and then I'm done. And this is what God had to tell Habakkuk. after Habakkuk had his perplexity and his doubts and trying to understand of how all these things that they was doing, how God was going to keep them. Verse number 2, chapter number 2 says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." Verse number 4, and closer. Ryan, go ahead and come and start playing softly. "Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." Church, Habakkuk had that dream, had that vision, and the Lord told him what to do. When the Lord tells you to do something, when he gives you something, I found it firsthand that when the Lord gives me something in the middle of the night, if I don't make a note of it, I might not get it again. I might not be able to remember. I can remember of the Lord giving me something, but what he gave me, I won't know. I will not remember. Habakkuk had a dream, had a vision of all the things that was happening. And I believe his vision was for us today. We can look around and see all the things that are happening in America. What is your burden this morning? How are you living? Are you living by faith? We see over in Habakkuk, it said the just shall live by faith. If we look again over in Romans, it tells us to live by faith. Over in Hebrews, it tells us to live by faith. Church, faith is the answer. We've got to have faith. We've got to have faith that God's going to bless. We've got to have faith that God's going to bless at Sunday school day. Johnny, we've got to have faith that God's going to build the church back up. Church, we've got to have faith. We've got to have faith that it's going to be what it once was. We've got to have the faith. Everyone stand. All heads bowed and eyes closed.